Hello again, it's Kyle with Ledger Support. I wanted to make a very quick video to answer a couple of common questions that I get, all involving what happens in different scenarios with my Ledger wallet. So first one I get commonly is like, what happens if I lose my Ledger? Let's say I leave it on an airplane seat and somebody finds it. Am I going to lose my money? Is someone going to steal my crypto? So if you think about it, especially if you've been using your Ledger for a while, what happens when you first start up your device is it's like, give me your PIN code. And you get 3 guesses at your PIN before the device wipes itself. And so what happens is if somebody were to find your Ledger Nano X on an airplane seat, what they're going to do is they're going to pop it open. And let's say they're like extra malicious and they really want to steal your money. They get 3 guesses at your PIN before the device wipes itself back to a factory default state. So unless your PIN is super easy to guess, like 1111 or 1234, the odds of somebody guessing your PIN correctly, it's a 4 to 8 digit PIN. So the amount of options are vast. The odds of somebody getting your PIN correct on guessing it within 3 tries is very, very low. So what's going to happen is somebody's going to pick up your device, they're going to guess your PIN 3 times, it will wipe itself, and congratulations, they got themselves a new Ledger device that they could go on to use to store their own crypto. Why not? But the thing is that they're not going to have access to yours because they don't know your PIN. So it should go to show. The next question I get is, I have a Ledger Nano S and I would really like to upgrade to the Nano X. Or, hey, there's a new Ledger Nano S Plus coming out on the horizon. How would I set that up? Like, what do I do? Setting up a second Ledger device is quite straightforward. You have a recovery phrase. That recovery phrase encodes all of the information needed to restore your account. And that means that you should be protecting that, keeping it offline, keeping it safe. That's like the whole premise of the recovery phrase, is that it is your account encoded in a single 24-word phrase. I have a whole video that I go into the details of your recovery phrase, but what happens is if you want to take a new Ledger device out of the box, you take the plastic off, open the package, you're going to just on setup, the Ledger asks you a question. There's 2 options. It says, option 1, create me a new recovery phrase, which is what you would do if you've never set one up safely before. If you're a new Ledger user, you do the first option, make a new one. If you want to set up a second device that is a clone of your first device that has the same account information within it as your first device, just pick the second option. It says restore from recovery phrase. And then on the tiny Ledger Nano screen, you're going to be typing in your recovery words one by one. This is the one and only legitimate reason to pull out your recovery phrase from its safe storage location and use it for any reason, is to take a new Ledger device and set it up on its tiny little screen and set up a brand new device, restoring it from recovery phrase. So yeah, you can make as many as you want that way. You can make 15 Ledger Nanos, all of them set up with the exact same account information. They all just need the same seed phrase, same recovery phrase loaded into them. Okay, so the next question I get is, what happens if I forget my PIN? I picked a weird PIN for my Ledger Nano and I don't remember it. What do I do? Well, if you have your recovery phrase, no big deal. You basically become that person who found the Ledger on an airplane seat. You're going to guess your own PIN wrong 3 tries, and then the device will wipe itself back to a factory default state, and you just treat it like it's a brand new Ledger out of the box. It'll say like, welcome to Ledger. Would you like to create a recovery phrase or restore from recovery phrase? And you'll just pull out your recovery phrase and restore it. This time when you set up, you'll put a PIN that you remember, hopefully, and then use that going forward. If you forget your PIN and you've lost your recovery phrase, that's not good. Like, you have no way to set up a new device once it wipes itself. So the question is, what happens if I lose my recovery phrase, but I still have my PIN and I still have a Ledger set up? This is not good. This is not a great scenario to be in a scenario we need to deal with quickly. But what that means is that you have a functioning Ledger Nano that has your account information within it and has the ability to make transactions. But when that device dies, breaks, gets lost, you forget your PIN, you're screwed. Like, you have no way to recover your account information, and the one last functioning thing that had your account information embedded within it is, that's your last chance. Nobody, including Ledger, the company Ledger itself, cannot get your recovery phrase out of a nano. It's securely encoded. It's cryptographically secure. So if you lose your written version of the recovery phrase, you are treading on thin ice. So the recommendation here is you need to take that functioning ledger and transact all of the money out of it into a new account that is based on a seed phrase that you have written down. So here's the ideal: go buy a new ledger, set it up with like a new recovery phrase. Pick that first option. Make me a new recovery phrase. Write it down, of course. Keep it this time, and then use your old ledger to transact all of your assets from your old ledger to your new ledger, one by one. The new account doesn't have to be a ledger, and in fact, you may even get recommended sometimes that you just like transfer it away to a software wallet, set up, like restore your device, wipe it and restore it, and then transfer it all back. But ideally, what you would do is you'd actually keep that old ledger device set up and stored safely somewhere, just in the event that like you forgot something. Like, oh no, I had a Cosmos account that I had totally forgot about when I went to go recover it. Let me go back and get it. And so like, there's no good reason to take that last functioning way to access your old accounts and destroy it. I would hold on to it and set up a new ledger and move all your assets to it. Okay, so there you have it. I covered all four of my most burning questions, which is lost or stolen ledger. What do I do? What happens? I want to set up a second ledger, or maybe like upgrade from S to X, or I have an X and I want to back up to an S, whatever. What if I forget my PIN? What if I forget my recovery phrase? Hopefully with all four of those, even if that's not one of your questions, hopefully that sort of forms the whole picture about what's going on, what happens in certain scenarios, and maybe like gives you a better intuition for what's going on in the system. Hope that helped. Thanks so much. Have a good one.